Hello again, Manchester. My name's Tammy Simmons. I'm the host of ManchTalk, and I'm glad you're joining us here today. This week, in addition to our normal format, I'm going to start by adding a new little segment that's being hosted by Representative Victoria Sullivan's two boys, Seamus and Buddy. They've decided to help me by going out and finding things fun and exciting for kids in Manchester. Now, the video you're going to see might be a little not as good as what they would like, but this is their starting point. So bear with me, listen to what they have to say, and next week I'm sure it'll be even better.
Hello, I'm Buddy. I'm Seamus, and we're here for KidZone. This is our very first episode of KidZone. What we do is we go around and we find good places to go and fun things to do for kids in Manchester. Today we're at SkyZone. Let's go ahead in. So, what would you like kids to know about SkyZone?
Well, first of all, that we are a friendly place for kids and to have fun. We're all about active and activity. As you see here, you won't find any hidden games. So we try to have it a little bit more healthy, fun, activity for the kids and for adults as well.
What do you like about your job?
About my job? Well, I love my job. I own the place.
That's good.
But again, it's about providing entertainment, healthy, active entertainment for the family and the kids. And as you see, we're here about music, and you couldn't ask for a better job than that. I'm here all the time. Just love it. The atmosphere is great.
Buddy, do you do anything online?
Yes, of course. The best way is to get online, fill your tickets online, buy your tickets online. This way, if we are busy, like we are in the winter, we get a super pass, then you reserve your spot. At the same time, if you have little kids, go online and fill the waiver. This way, when you're here, you save time, although we obviously do have kiosks over here for you to fill.
There you go. Apparently SkyZone in Manchester is one of the places that's exciting for kids, and I'm sure if you Google SkyZone Manchester, you can find that website where you can buy those tickets. And I really want to thank Buddy and Seamus for helping me with this, and I can't wait to see the video for next week. So back to the regular show. The title of my show this week in my notes is Trash Talk. And you might be thinking, well, that's just because I'm going to go out here and I'm going to trash people. Well, that really wasn't the plan. Although I could trash my opponent in November's election, Tim Smith from Ward 10, because he was rated the worst legislative score by the House Republican Alliance. Granted, he's a Democrat, but even some of the Democrats do quite well on the HRA scores. He got the lowest in Manchester, so I could trash him a little, or I could probably trash Tommy Katziantonis for, not showing up because he only had a 7.8% attendance record. So for those of you living in Ward 8, if you're actually looking to have somebody represent you, you should probably vote for somebody else, because Tommy actually doesn't go to the State House very often to actually represent his constituents. And while on the subject of HRA scores, I thought I might plug myself and a couple of my colleagues, because the HRA, the House Republican Alliance, released their 2016 scores over the weekend. And again, Victoria Sullivan, myself, and Representative Mark McLean, so Victoria in Ward 9, myself in Ward 10, and Mark McLean in Ward 8 score at the top of the Republicans in Manchester. Victoria got a score of 95.5, I got a 94.3, and Mark McLean got a 93.8. So you got some good Republicans working for you there in the State House from Manchester. Additionally, the three of us just yesterday at the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance's annual Liberty Dinner received an endorsement from the NHLA and a score of an A, with a percentage of mine being 93.5 voting pro-liberty. Mark McLean's 93 and Victoria's 91.1. So for whatever reason, myself, Victoria, and Mark McLean seem to score at the top of all the charts on all the ratings. So we must be doing something right in Concord. But seriously, on the subject of trash, for those of you who know me well, you'll probably hear me say all the time, I try to figure out what it is about Manchester that doesn't make our city pretty. I drive through a lot in Concord and spend some time on the seacoast, and I see communities and I think, God, they're prettier, they're nicer, they're just more pleasant to look at. I happen to think the single biggest thing is curbing, which really doesn't have much to do with trash, but I think if we had more curbs and less of those sidewalks that just run off into the street, I actually think our neighborhoods would improve. I think people care about what their properties look like when the street in front of their property looks better. I realize that the city has a matching program for people to put in curbs, but I honestly think that if the city put more money into installing more curbs and keeping our sidewalks in better condition, that people would actually improve their properties more, which only helps our whole neighborhoods, helps all of our property assessments. It makes the community better overall. And back to the trash. Trash is another thing that I think makes a difference in a neighborhood. This brings me to an article I read in the Union Leader last week in the City Hall column about trash pickup. Currently, we have Manchester employees going out and manually dumping bins into the back of the trash can. They either pick up bags, they can pick up these 33-gallon old-fashioned trash cans and dump them in, or they can move those lidded trash bins to the truck and have the truck dump them. The problem is injuries, worker injuries. For those of you who don't know, I serve on the labor committee at the State House, so we hear a lot about workers' compensation and what we can do to make workers' compensation rates more affordable. And the biggest thing is finding ways to prevent injuries in the first place. As you can imagine, lifting and dumping trash can after trash can after trash can is bound to cause injuries to the people who work for Public Works in Manchester. So in the article, Mark Gomez, who is the environmental programs manager at Public Works, went to the special committee on solid waste activities. So the aldermen have a special subcommittee just about solid waste. That committee is made up of Kavanaugh, O'Neill, Barry, Hirschman, and Herbert. So Chris Herbert, Keith Hirschman, Bill Barry, O'Neill, and Alderman Kavanaugh. They hear the things first, and then they choose whether to push them on and take them to the full board at the regular meetings. Mark Gomez made a proposal to this committee to partially turn curbside pickup to automated only in like 5 of the 9 trash districts within the city. So basically what that would mean is instead of you being able to put out a bag of trash or a different kind of trash can, you would have to have this trash bin, the green trash bins that you see all over the city. They're on wheels, they're hinged, and what's nice about them is they would work the same way that Pinard Waste works when they pick up our recycling. The truck pulls up, it picks up the trash can, it dumps it into the truck, and off they go. Not only does this alleviate city workers having to actually pick up all these trash bins and reduce the number of injuries, it also means we only need 1 man on every truck. So instead of needing 2 people riding on the back of the trash truck and somebody driving, we actually only need the person driving, and the arm on the truck will actually pick up the trash and dump it. So what does that mean for city employees? Well, according to Mark Gomez, it wouldn't reduce the number of city employees. I might disagree slightly, but what he's saying is those city employees could be shifted to either street repair or snow plowing or other parts of the Public Works department. I don't know about you, but fixing the city streets is kind of important. If we can get people off the trucks and put them to work fixing our sidewalks or fixing potholes in the street, I think our quality of life in Manchester would go up. Now, this is the part that was kind of disturbing. Mark Gomez also said that in every year, the city loses an average of 4,503 hours of worker time. 4,503 hours. That's over 112 full-time work weeks. That means 2 entire full-time positions are out with injuries every year due to injuries because they're picking up trash. I don't know about you, but that's got to cost a lot of money. Those 2 employees could be working elsewhere in the city doing things that need to be done. Or the cost of having those employees could be used somewhere else. Having people injured out of work isn't doing the taxpayer any sort of service. In addition, over the last 3 years, they averaged out what we spend in workers' compensation medical costs because Manchester's self-insured. So when we have a claim, it comes out of our money. The average cost per year is $298,310. $250,000 spent every year on medical bills due to injuries caused by having to pick up the trash. I don't know about you, but it would seem logical that if we could alleviate the possibility of injuring workers and not have 4,503 hours of injured worker or spend almost $300,000 a year in medical claims, we should probably consider doing that. He said that he felt that his department could realize efficiency gains. And I know when Mayor Gatsis was first elected, I was appointed to serve on an efficiencies task force to try to find ways in the city to save money, way to merge departments to be more efficient. Because the biggest thing I hear when I'm out campaigning for state rep from people is they aren't so upset with actually paying their taxes. They just want to make sure that the money that they pay is being spent well, that your money is being spent efficiently, that we're not just spending foolishly. I think this points to exactly what people are concerned about. Can we save money and still have our trash picked up? I think the majority of people who pay their taxes know that trash pickup, road repair, plowing, fire, and police, that's really what people think their taxes are being spent on, besides schools. They expect those services. So people are used to having their trash picked up. But does it have to be done in a way that causes worker injury, or can it be done in a more efficient, more automated, more 21st century way using technology? Unfortunately, there was pushback on the subcommittee. Apparently, the biggest concern was that there's a cost involved because obviously the people have to have these trash bins. I have one of those trash bins. When my old trash bin broke, I could have either gone to Home Depot and spent whatever, $20 or $30 on a little old-fashioned trash can, or I could invest in the bigger lidded wheeled cans that the city offers. They are either $60 or $75, so they are more expensive, but they do have a 10-year guarantee, so if your lid breaks, it's going to get replaced. Not like a trash can that if it gets damaged, you're going to have to go out and buy a new one. It is on wheels. It's easier to get to the curb. It's got a lid. Your trash isn't blowing all over the place. The rain isn't getting in it. It's actually significantly easier, from my perspective, than putting out trash cans. And I'm not one to spend money just all over the place just because. I can't say enough. It was well worth the investment. And I bought the larger size. It was $75. I had no problem with it. Now, interestingly enough, down in downtown, there are any units that have three or more, any buildings that have 3 or more units in it, they must already have these trash cans. They already mandate it in the downtown area. Alderman O'Neill said he can't support any proposal that would require people to have to buy these trash cans. So instead of asking people who want their trash to be picked up efficiently to invest slightly in trash cans, we're just going to continue to do it, continue to injure workers, continue to have the equivalent of 2 full-time employees out on injuries every year, spend $300,000 on medical bills, because we don't want to ask property owners to spend $60 or $75. I don't know about you, but the last time I checked, nobody asked me if I want my real estate tax bill either. I just kind of get it. I don't really get a choice on whether or not I pay $3,200 or $3,400 or $3,600. I kind of just have to pay it. It's required. I don't see any reason why the city couldn't do the same thing with trash cans. It's not like you're asking them to buy a $1,000 trash can. We're talking $60 or $75. Every property owner probably could spend that money knowing it would realize savings on the other end, because we would reduce worker injuries. We would have employees that would be able to do other things like fix our streets or plow our streets. I think it's a win-win for everybody. In addition to just the cost, it'll make our neighborhoods cleaner. Nothing makes me more crazy when you drive by and you see a mound of trash outside somebody's house, and I think, how is the city supposed to pick that up? I mean, are the workers supposed to just like scoop it up with their hands and put it in a truck? That's crazy. These bins are lidded. All the trash is contained in them. It's a much better system. I think we're making a mistake by not even considering this. What was interesting also is that Alderman O'Neill says there's nothing broken with the system that we have. I don't know. Having having the equivalent of 2 years of employees out with injuries and spending $300,000 on medical claims, anybody being injured in a job that we could prevent those injuries, I would say that's broken. People are being broken. That's a concern. He was really concerned about putting additional costs on property owners. The problem is if we don't pay it up front by buying trash cans, we're just paying it later in the form of workers' compensation, medical payments, and out-of-work hours. This really is unfortunate, but Alderman Hirschman made the motion to recommend the proposal, and he couldn't, and not a single member of that committee would second the proposal. That means Alderman Kavanaugh, Alderman Berry, Alderman O'Neill, and Alderman Herbert all do not think that automating trash is a good idea for Manchester. So when, if you live in one of those wards where Alderman Kavanaugh, Alderman O'Neill, Alderman Berry, or Alderman Herbert live, you might want to reach out to them and say, I'd be willing to buy a trash can if it meant reducing the cost to the taxpayer. So now that I got thinking about trash and curbs and what makes our city better, I got to thinking about other trash things that I often find myself complaining with friends about. It makes me nuts when you drive down the street and you see a chair sitting on the curb. I get it. Somebody needs to throw their chair out. They put it out at the curb. I'm not sure if anybody else knows there's any other way to dispose of a piece of furniture or a large bulky item. They put it out, the trash truck pulls up, takes the trash, drives away, the chair is still there. Next week, the people put out their trash, the trash truck pulls up, they take the trash, they drive away, the chair is still there. I know this past year, I was watching purposely just to see. There was a chair on our street for over a month. Now, granted, those homeowners or those tenants should have contacted the city to have it picked up. Or maybe I could have done it, but I was testing. What I don't understand is why when the trash truck goes by, the trash collectors aren't making some sort of note to pass on to the department they work in that there's a bulky item that needs to get picked up. I think it's important that the city and our employees in the city be proactive and think about what they're seeing when they're out working in the city. I don't think it would be impossible for either the driver of the truck to have a clipboard and just write the address, 142 Park Street, chair on curb, and then just hand it in at the end of the day and let somebody in the department send the bulky item truck out to pick it up. Until today, when I realized we still charge for bulky item pickup. I don't know if people realize that. So in order to get something picked up in the city, a big item, what you need to do is you need to go online and you need to find the form first. Then you have to fill it out and mail it with a check to the highway department so that they can schedule a day to come pick up your bulky item. I don't know about you, but in houses where the property isn't owned by the property owner, I don't think people are going to bother to do it. Obviously, I don't think they do bother to do it because those items sat on the street for a month or more. People are just putting them out at the curb, and eventually the city comes and picks them up. Unfortunately, for a month, it creates an eyesore in a neighborhood. And the city ends up picking it up for free in the end anyways. So why, instead of charging people to pick up bulky items, maybe we could save some money on workers' compensation medical bills, and we could just pick up the bulky items. And we could make it so that the highway department actually is proactive about picking up those bulky items. I know you can go to the drop-off facility and drop things off, and a lot of times they're free. A lot of times there is a 7.5 cent per pound charge for like debris if you're doing construction. But you can drop certain things off. You can drop off up to 4 tires per registered vehicle a year. They still are supposed to be charging us, according to the website, they're supposed to be charging us $5 for every TV and monitor. I know I've dropped off TVs and they haven't charged me, so I'm not sure if the policies are inconsistent. If you just catch the drop-off facility employees at a good time, they just let you bring things. I'm really not sure what the policy is. I do know that the drop-off facility isn't really open at convenient hours. It's open like 7:30 to 3 Monday through Friday, and I don't know about you, but most people I know are working between 7:30 and 3 on Monday through Friday. Then they're only open 2 Saturdays a month, and it's only from like 7:30 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. So there's very small windows of time for people to actually drop things off at the drop-off facility. I just don't think I just don't think it's possible to expect people when they go to, Walmart or Bob's Discount Furniture or whatever and pick up a new recliner and they bring it home, they got to get rid of the old one. They're not just going to like push it off to the side of the living room till they wait to hear back a week or so after they've mailed in a check for $25 to have it picked up and then put it out, wait for them to come pick it up. They're just going to put it at the curb. If Alderman O'Neill was really concerned about the costs to residents, we wouldn't have a policy about charging for bulky item pickup. His opinion doesn't make any sense. He's not okay with people having to buy a trash can when you need a trash can anyways, but he is okay with the city supposedly charging $25 to pick up an old chair on the side of the road. You're either okay with people paying for things or you're not okay with people paying for things. I'm okay if I have to pay to have a bulky item picked up if it's going to save me a trip to the drop-off facility because I may not be able to make it during those hours. But the process has to be easier or more streamlined. And realistically, I just don't think that renters in particular in the city are going to do it. They're just going to put the stuff out on the curb. It's going to make our neighborhoods look worse. I think we need to improve the quality of our neighborhoods. I think we need to improve the look of our neighborhoods. I think we need to make Manchester a prettier place. And I think we could start with trash. And we could start with curbs. And I think that would be a good first step in the right direction to making Manchester a more beautiful place to live. So, enough about trash. I did want to, before I finish today, mention a couple things. One, when if you want to get outside and do something in Manchester in the upcoming weeks, there's some things that I'm not sure if people are aware of. Stark Park, which is up on the north end of Manchester, up on River Road, they have a summer concert series, and every Sunday in July and August, I think, they have concerts in the park. It's free. You can go. You can sit on a blanket, bring a lawn chair, enjoy some music. This Sunday, July 17th from 2 to 4, the band's name is Tradition. It says it's a 5-piece band from Boston, and they play all styles of Irish music as well as classic rock, country, and folk. So if the weather's good on Sunday and you want to get outside and you want to go do something, go up to Stark Park, enjoy some music for a couple hours, and unwind. Additionally, the farmers market is up and running. It runs Thursdays 3 to 6:30 in Victory Park, right straight through till October 21st. For those of you who don't know where Victory Park is, that's the one between Concord and Amherst Street, between Chestnut and Pine. You can get more information on the community market at manchestercommunitymarket.org. You can get information on the Stark Park concert series at starkpark.com, so you can see what's coming up in future weeks. And another great website to find things going on in Manchester is intownmanchester.com. They have a whole calendar. It shows what events are happening in restaurants and other exciting things in Manchester. So there's lots of great things to do. And I'm going to make my shameless plug. If you've never kayaked before, Get yourself up to Edgewater Kayak in Hooksett. You can rent a kayak for, I think, $25 a day. If you go to Cooptopia.com, I think you can still get coupons, and then it's only $12 a day. You can kayak on the Merrimack River, and even though it's not right in Manchester, it is in Hooksett, which is our neighbor up to the north of us, and it is actually a wonderful way to spend a day. It's great to get out on the river. It's very relaxing. It's a little bit of exercise, and you really get to see a part of our community or our greater community that you might not ever see. Lastly, I wanted to make a congratulations to those Manchester state rep candidates who did receive endorsements yesterday from the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance at their annual Liberty Dinner. Those that were endorsed were Mark Warden, who was running in Ward 1, Daniel Heck, who's running in Ward 3, Marav Yakov, who's also running in Ward 3, Representative Mark McLean, who is running in Ward 8. Steve Valancourt is back and running in Ward 8 and was also endorsed. Representative Victoria Sullivan running in Ward 9. Dan Garthwaite and myself in Ward 10. Albert Everts, he's run a couple times and hopefully he'll win this time. He's running in Ward 11. Matthew Ping was also endorsed from Ward 11. Clarence Gardner in Ward 12. Philip Harris, who's running in the floterial that covers wards 1, 2, and 3. Anthony Pugh, also in that same 1, 2, 3 district. Michael Garcia and Japhett Stevens running in the 4, 5, 6, 7 floterial. And Curtis Howland on the west side floterial, wards 10, 11, 12. Also, a shout out to gubernatorial candidate Frank Adelblue. He was the only governor's candidate that was endorsed by the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance, so kudos for you. That's really all I have this week. I hope I gave you some information on trash, gave you a little information about candidates and where they stand on some things. If you have any suggestions for ideas for the show or for feedback on KidZone or what the boys could go out and look at, please do email me at ManchTalk, all one word, ManchTalk@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, both at ManchTalk. Thank you for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next week, and make sure you get out there and enjoy some beautiful summer weather right here in our beautiful city of Manchester. Bye.